Chosen one, can you feel it? The air is different today. It's not just another date on the calendar. It is the day heaven has already marked for a shift in your life. You spent nights asking when. You thought you still had to wait longer, gather more signs, prove yourself again. But heaven is speaking clearly now. The waiting is over. Your rich life is not some distant dream. It is not locked away in a future season. It begins now. This is not just about money or possessions. It is about fullness. It is about doors opening where there were only walls. It is about peace where there was anxiety. It is about walking in the abundance of purpose that has always been written over you. Do not ignore the shift you feel inside. Do not dismiss the peace that doesn't make sense. The opportunities appearing suddenly, the relationships being rearranged. These are not coincidences. They are proof that heaven has already moved. Chosen one, your life will not remain the same after today. The promise has already crossed into reality, and ignoring it would mean refusing the greatest move of God in your story. Chosen one, listen carefully. Heaven has already declared the end of waiting. What once felt delayed, distant, or out of reach is no longer withheld from you. This is not another season of preparation. It is the moment of manifestation. How many times did you think, "It's not my time yet, I'm not ready, maybe I need more signs"? But heaven does not move by human timelines. Heaven does not choose based on your resources, your efforts, or your strategies. Heaven chooses based on divine purpose, and that purpose has reached its appointed time in your life. Today, your rich life is no longer waiting for you somewhere in the future. It is not tied to the perfect opportunity, the right people, or the approval of others. It begins now, because once heaven speaks, the earth must align. You may have already noticed subtle changes around you. Things that were locked are suddenly moving. Conversations you thought were over are resurfacing with new life. People who ignored you are beginning to notice you. Opportunities are showing up without effort. All of these are confirmations whispering to your spirit, the time has come. And here is the truth. Many remain stuck even after heaven has already opened the door, simply because they keep behaving like they are still waiting. It's like standing in front of an open gate, but being too afraid to walk through. Chosen one, you cannot afford to keep living as if you are still in the season of lack. That season is over. Heaven has announced you are stepping now into abundance. And abundance is not just about money. It is about fullness. It is about waking up with peace instead of fear. It is about seeing clarity where there was once confusion. It is about relationships that align with your calling and opportunities that unfold with ease. It is about your life flowing in rhythm with what was already written in heaven. But you must respond to this announcement. Heaven can release it, but if you still walk with hesitation, doubt, or fear, you will delay what is already yours. Your alignment is required. So today, lift your head. Pray as one who has already been answered. Speak as one who already knows the promise is real. Walk as one who has already received. You are no longer waiting for a promise. You are living in the promise. Chosen one, the rich life you've been longing for has never been about chance. It has always been about timing. And today, that timing has arrived. Look back at what you've endured. The tears, the silence, the disappointments. Each one was shaping you. Each one was preparation. And now heaven says, it is time. Nothing can stop it. No resistance can block it. No voice can silence it. What has been released is already in motion. So do not question the stirring you feel inside. Do not doubt the sudden peace, the unusual opportunities, the people entering and leaving your life. And these are not accidents. They are the clear announcement that waiting has ended. The rich life is no longer far off. It is not a promise for someday. It begins today. Chosen one, this is the day everything shifts. Heaven has already spoken. The waiting is over. Now is the time to live. What it really means to live a rich life. Chosen one, today you must understand something powerful. A rich life is not only about money. The world may try to reduce the meaning of wealth to numbers in a bank account, possessions, or recognition. But heaven measures richness in a far deeper way. If you do not grasp this truth, you risk entering abundance and still feeling empty. A truly rich life is about fullness. It is waking up with peace in your heart and going to sleep with purpose in your spirit. It is knowing that you are just surviving, but actively living the calling written for you before time began. It is recognizing that every step you take is guided by the divine, and that richness, chosen one, cannot be bought, manipulated, or taken away. Look around you. Haven't you noticed how many people seem to have it all, but remain unfulfilled? They may own luxury, yet lack love. They may enjoy status, yet carry constant anxiety. They may collect possessions, yet feel profoundly alone. That is not richness. That is emptiness wrapped in gold. Heaven is not calling you to that shallow life. The rich life prepared for you is holistic, touching the spiritual, emotional, relational, physical, and material dimensions of your being. This is why God did not release it earlier. He wanted you to be shaped in such a way that when it comes, you will not only receive it, but also sustain it. True richness looks like this: spiritual richness. You begin to feel God's presence more deeply. Prayer no longer feels like one-way silence. You hear Him respond. You feel His guidance. You sense His nearness. Revelation flows more freely. You start to discern what is hidden and understand what once confused you. Emotional richness. The wounds that weighed down your heart begin to heal. Where fear controlled you, courage rises. Where anxiety consumed you, confidence settles. Where sadness lingered, joy takes root. Relational richness. New connections arrive aligned with your destiny. People who pull you down fade away, and those who lift you higher appear. Old, draining ties are replaced with divine partnerships that bring peace, clarity, and support. Material richness. Yes, resources will come too. Opportunities once delayed begin to accelerate. Projects thought to be dead suddenly come alive. Favor opens doors you could never force. Finances begin to align because your hands are now ready to steward. But here is the core truth. All of this is not random. It is the manifestation of heaven's definition of wealth, living in divine alignment. A rich life is not about what you collect, but about who you become in the process. It is not about stacking possessions, but about walking in fullness. It is not about proving your worth, but about embodying the worth God already placed in you. And notice this, richness always begins inside before it is visible outside. The shift you feel in your spirit, the peace, the confidence, the faith, is the root of the abundance now blooming. When heaven calls you rich, the earth must eventually catch up. But it starts with your spirit. Chosen one, stop defining wealth by what the world tells you. Stop thinking richness is measured only in what can be touched or counted. Heaven's richness is seen in the unshakable peace you carry, in the bold faith you release, in the way you walk through storms and still glow with light. And from that foundation, the external blessings flow. Do you see why the waiting had to happen? God wasn't only preparing your circumstances, He was preparing your character. He wasn't only arranging opportunities, He was strengthening your spirit. He wasn't only planning provision, He was shaping you into the kind of person who can live richly in every dimension, not just one. So now you can declare, "My life is already rich." Not because everything is perfect, but because heaven has shifted your position. Not because you hold it all in your hands, but because you already carry it in your spirit. This, chosen one, is the true meaning of a rich life. It is not only promise, it is presence. It begins within you, and now it is beginning to flow around you. Chosen one, many expect abundance to arrive with thunder, lightning, or some undeniable miracle that leaves no doubt. But heaven rarely works in the noise. The true signs of abundance are subtle, quiet, almost hidden, designed only for those who are spiritually awake to recognize them. If you are waiting for something grand before you believe, you may miss the small confirmations already shouting to your spirit. The first sign is the inner shift. You no longer feel at home in the same places, conversations, or distractions that once consumed your time. What used to satisfy now feels empty. You begin to sense that your spirit has outgrown old environments. That discontent is not failure. It is the evidence that heaven has raised your frequency. Your inner world is being aligned before your outer world catches up. Another sign is provision, arriving in ways that defy logic. Perhaps it shows up as an unexpected opportunity, a helping hand offered without you asking, or a resource appearing at the exact moment you needed it. These are not coincidences. They are heaven's way of whispering, "I am already moving on your behalf." Abundance always begins with these quiet flows before it floods. There is also acceleration. What was delayed for years suddenly begins to move quickly. Projects that were stagnant suddenly gain momentum. Doors that were shut swing open almost effortlessly. You may even feel overwhelmed by how fast things begin to unfold. This is not random. It is the sign that you have stepped out of waiting and into fulfillment. Pay attention also to your heightened spiritual sensitivity. Dreams become more vivid. Words repeat themselves from different sources. Numbers and signs appear consistently in your path. Heaven is echoing messages to ensure you understand. This is your season. You may feel more intuitive, more aware of what is hidden beneath the surface, more certain of what steps to take. That clarity is proof that abundance has already been set in motion. Another undeniable sign is the rearrangement of people around you. Some drift away without explanation. Others arrive suddenly and bring peace, encouragement, and alignment. These shifts are not accidents. They are heaven removing what cannot go with you and sending those who will strengthen you at this level. If someone left, it is because they could not walk where you are going. If someone new has entered your life, they are part of the design of your abundance. And then there is the peace that surpasses understanding. Even with challenges still present, you find yourself resting in a deep calm you cannot explain. It feels like an anchor has been placed inside of you, holding you steady no matter what storms appear outside. That peace is not natural. It is supernatural. It is the seal of heaven, saying, "You are in alignment." Finally, the change in your language is perhaps the strongest sign of all. You stop speaking in terms of lack, fear, or delay. Your words begin to carry faith, certainty, and declaration. You catch yourself saying, "I know it will work," or "This is my time," or "I trust what God is doing." Without realizing it, your mouth begins to prophesy the reality you are stepping into. And because life and death are in the power of the tongue, this shift in speech is proof that abundance is no longer a promise. It is already manifesting. Chosen one, these are the signs. They are here now. You do not need to wait for fireworks to confirm what heaven has already whispered. The miracle is in the details, in the quiet shifts, in the subtle confirmations. Recognize them, honor them, speak them out loud, because the more you acknowledge them, the stronger they become. Abundance is not a far-off future. It has already begun to unfold in you and around you. Every sign is heaven, declaring that waiting has ended. Every detail is proof that the rich life has already started. The only question is whether you will open your eyes to see it or continue waiting for something that is already here. What needs to be left behind? Chosen one, there is no such thing as entering abundance while holding on to the weight of scarcity. You cannot step into a rich life and expect to carry the same baggage that belonged to your past seasons. The rich life is not just about what comes to you. It is also about what must leave you. This is why many delay their own breakthrough. They want the new, but they refuse to release the old. Think for a moment about the patterns that no longer fit the person you are becoming. Have you noticed that certain places, habits, or even people no longer resonate with your spirit? You feel out of alignment with conversations that once entertained you. Activities that once filled your time now feel meaningless. This is not random. It is heaven declaring, "This version of you cannot walk where I am taking you." The first thing you must leave behind is the mindset of lack. For too long, you told yourself stories of limitation. You said, "I can't, I don't have, it will never happen for me." Those words were chains, and chains cannot travel into freedom. Heaven has already decreed abundance, but if your mind clings to scarcity, you will always feel unworthy of what is being released. The mindset of lack must die for abundance to live fully in you. Another weight that must stay in the past is the habit of comparison. The rich life is not measured against anyone else's journey. If you spend your energy watching how far others have gone, you blind yourself to how far you've come. Heaven has never called you to walk another person's path. Your abundance has its own timing, its own design, its own beauty. Comparing your process will only leave you exhausted and distracted. Then comes the fear of the unknown. Every new level feels unfamiliar, and the human instinct is to hold tightly to what is comfortable. But comfort zones are graves for destiny. If you want to step into the richness God has prepared, you cannot stay shackled by fear. Remember this: the same God who carried you through valleys is the God who sustains you on mountains. The unknown is not your enemy. It is the space where miracles are born. You must also let go of draining relationships. Some people were part of your preparation season, but are not meant to walk with you in abundance. They may love you, but they cannot align with the level of life you are stepping into. Their presence will weigh you down, cloud your focus, and pull you back to cycles you already outgrew. This is why some connections are fading. Heaven is making space. It is not rejection, it is preservation. And perhaps the hardest to release are the older versions of yourself. The you shaped by rejection, pain, scarcity, and fear cannot enter the rich life. If you insist on carrying that identity forward, you will always feel smaller than what God is placing in your hands. That version of you was necessary for the lessons, but it is not necessary for the promise. Today, you must choose to clothe yourself in the identity heaven has always seen in you. Whole, worthy, and capable. Chosen one, you cannot soar while clutching anchors. Every bag you release is another wing that opens. Every weight you let go of is another step upward. This is not punishment. This is not loss. It is the pruning required to sustain your abundance. God is not taking things from you. He is freeing your hands so you can carry what He is giving you now. So ask yourself honestly, what am I still holding that no longer belongs? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it guilt from the past? Is it the need for approval? Is it a toxic tie that keeps draining my spirit? You already know the answer because your spirit has been whispering it for weeks, maybe months. The unease you feel is not coincidence. It is heaven nudging you to let go. Abundance is not delayed. It is waiting for you to release. And the moment you choose to drop the old, you will feel the rush of the new flood in. You will see opportunities open, peace multiply, provision flow. Not because they weren't there before, but because your hands were finally free to receive them. The rich life does not come with chains. It comes with wings, and wings cannot carry baggage. Today is the day to lay it all down. Leave behind what cannot stay. Step forward with a light spirit, because heaven has already prepared what your hands are meant to hold. How to align with divine provision. Chosen one, heaven has already released the abundance, but alignment determines whether you will walk in it or continue living beneath it. Provision is not a matter of luck. It is not about stumbling into the right opportunities or hoping for the right people to appear. Provision flows to those who are aligned. When your heart, your words, and your actions move in rhythm with what God has already declared, nothing can block what is meant for you. Alignment begins with your mind. For too long, you may have lived with the language of lack, repeating phrases of limitation until they became your reality. You whispered to yourself, "I don't have enough. I'm not ready. Maybe one day." These statements chained you to waiting. But abundance cannot flow into a mind that clings to scarcity. To align with divine provision, you must shift your language and your thoughts. Begin to declare, "I already carry it. I already walk in it. It is already mine." Because when heaven has spoken, your agreement is what seals the manifestation. The next step of alignment is faith in motion. Faith is not just belief in your heart, it is movement in your life. Too many keep saying they believe, yet remain paralyzed. They never step forward, never risk, never put their hands to work. But heaven responds to action. When you walk as though you already have what was promised, you create space for it to appear. Faith does not wait for the evidence. Faith creates the evidence. If you believe abundance is yours, you must start speaking, planning, and acting like it. Another layer of alignment comes through connections. Provision often arrives through people. God places divine relationships in your path, individuals who carry keys, ideas, opportunities, or resources that unlock the next level. But many keep clinging to environments and connections that drain them. And in doing so, they block the flow of abundance. Alignment requires discernment, knowing who is sent to walk with you and who is meant to be left behind. When you align with the right people, you align with the streams through which heaven pours provision. Alignment also looks like stewardship. Why would heaven pour more into hands that mishandle what is already there? Too often, people cry for more while wasting what they already have. They dismiss small opportunities, overlook daily provision, and neglect to honor what has been entrusted to them. But divine abundance flows to faithful stewards. When you care for the little, you prove you are ready for the greater. When you honor the small, heaven multiplies it into much. Then there is gratitude. Gratitude is the magnet of heaven. When you choose to thank God for what is already present, you shift your posture from lack to fullness. Gratitude is proof that you see abundance even in seed form. And when you honor the seed, God releases the harvest. People who live complaining will always feel empty, but those who live grateful will always feel full, even before the overflow arrives. Gratitude keeps your heart open for continuous provision, and perhaps the deepest alignment is trust. Fear of loss has blocked more abundance than any external resistance ever could. If you walk into the rich life constantly afraid that it will be taken from you, you will sabotage yourself. But when you trust the source, you stop fearing the flow. The God who opened the door is the God who sustains the blessing. The stream is endless because the fountain is eternal. Trust shifts you from clinging to receiving, from controlling to resting, from worrying to living freely. Chosen one, provision is not chasing you randomly. It is already here, but your alignment determines whether you step into it fully. Renew your mind, move in faith, choose the right connections. Steward what you already have, live in gratitude, rest in trust. Each of these postures is like opening a channel, allowing the river of divine abundance to flow without resistance. You are not waiting for provision. It has been waiting for you to align. The moment you come into agreement, doors will swing open, opportunities will multiply, and resources will flow in ways you cannot explain. This is the secret of the rich life. Not striving, not forcing, but aligning. When heaven has spoken and you align, the earth has no choice but to respond. The abundance is here. The provision is here. The rich life is not a future dream. It is the reality already unfolding for you. The only question is, will you step into alignment or continue to wait for what has already been released? Chosen one, look back over the path you have walked, not as someone chained to regret, but as someone who finally understands the divine thread woven through every season. Nothing you endured was wasted. Every trial, every silence, every moment of waiting carried weight. It was all training, sculpting you into someone who could sustain the very abundance now being released over your life. Perhaps you have asked again and again, why did it take so long? Why did I face so many closed doors? Why did I carry so many burdens others never saw? Those questions haunted your nights. But now, as heaven reveals what was always hidden, the answer is clear. It wasn't delay, it was design. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It wasn't abandonment, it was protection. Think about it. The disappointments that crushed your heart taught you not to rely on human validation. The betrayals stripped away shallow connections so that only the true would remain. The long seasons of silence forced you to lean into the whisper of God when no other voice seemed to answer. Even the losses, those deep wounds that felt unbearable, were forging resilience in your spirit. They did not break you, they built you. Look at Joseph, sold by his brothers, thrown into a pit, accused falsely, left in prison. To him, it must have felt like years stolen, dreams destroyed, destiny delayed. Yet every injustice positioned him closer to the palace. Every closed door preserved him until the moment heaven announced, "Now." And in a single day, Joseph's story shifted. He stepped from captivity into rulership. His suffering had been the training ground for his abundance. So it has been with you. What seemed like the end was only a setup. Those seasons where you thought, "I'll never recover, I'll never rise again," were the exact moments heaven was deepening your foundation. Why? Because a shallow foundation cannot sustain a heavy blessing. Your rich life required depth. It required roots. It required you to be anchored so firmly in God that when the abundance came, you would not collapse under its weight. Your story is proof that God wastes nothing. The nights of weeping, they watered the soil for joy. The lonely seasons, they trained your spirit to hear what others ignore. The obstacles, they sharpened you, shaping skills and strength you didn't even know you had. The times you thought you were moving backward, they were simply heaven pulling you back like an arrow, so that now you could be released with unstoppable force. Chosen one, this moment is not random. It is the intersection of every prayer, every tear, every lesson, every scar. Nothing was accidental. Heaven had to prepare you because the life you are entering requires more than talent or desire. It requires maturity, endurance, humility, and clarity. And those can only be forged in fire. Do not despise the path that brought you here. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You're arriving exactly on time, because the timing was never in your hands. Every shut door, every no, every detour was divine strategy. You were being carried even when you thought you were crawling. You were being shaped even when you thought you were shattered. And now the sheer very parts of your story you once wished away are the proof of your authenticity. When others look at you, they won't just see someone blessed. They will see someone refined. Your abundance will carry credibility because it was birthed in the dark, in the secret place, in the moments no one else witnessed. You are not stepping into this rich life as an untested vessel. You are stepping into it as one who has been proven. The story that once felt like a weight is now your foundation. The pain that once silenced you is now your authority. The silence that once broke you is now your clarity. You are not a victim of your past. You are the vessel of its transformation. Chosen one, embrace your story, because it prepared you for this moment. Without it, you would not be ready. With it, you are unshakable. The rich life is no longer just a promise. It is the reality your entire journey has built toward. Every chapter has led here. Every scar testifies you were chosen for this. Chosen one, the waiting season has officially ended. What once felt like a distant dream, something you would maybe touch someday, has now stepped fully into your present reality. The rich life is no longer just prophecy spoken over you. It is the atmosphere you now breathe, the ground you now walk, the testimony you now embody. This is why heaven pressed you so deeply through seasons of waiting. Because this moment is not about surviving. It is about living. Not living halfway, not existing in fragments, but walking in the fullness of abundance God had always intended for you. Look at your life through new eyes. Do you see how the pieces are finally aligning? Do you feel the subtle yet undeniable shift in the air? What was once only a promise is now tangible. What you prayed for, longed for, cried for, is here. Maybe not in the exact package you imagined, but in the form you truly needed. And you must understand, this is not a temporary season. It is a divine reality. The rich life is not a weekend miracle or a fleeting breakthrough. It is the new normal of a soul aligned with heaven. It is the life where provision flows naturally, where peace rests heavy on your spirit, where doors open not by force, but by divine decree. It is the life where you stop chasing and start receiving. But the question now is, will you live as if it is still far away, or will you step into it fully, here and now? Many see abundance pass them by because they keep waiting instead of living. They think they must be more ready, more perfect, more complete. But heaven does not wait for perfection. It moves in divine timing. And that timing is now. So speak differently, pray differently, walk differently. Stop approaching God as if you are begging for something He hasn't given yet. Approach Him as a child who has already received their inheritance. Your posture must shift from asking to thanking, from hoping to declaring, from waiting to living. Chosen one, the rich life is here. It is no longer hidden in prophecy, no longer delayed by the process, no longer locked behind unanswered prayers. It is present, and it demands that you live like it. Do not shrink back. Do not apologize for stepping into what was always meant to be yours. Do not fear losing it. What heaven releases cannot be stolen. This is not just a blessing for you. It is a testimony through you. Others will see and know that God is faithful, that His timing is perfect, that His abundance is real. Every tear, every prayer, every long night of doubt has brought you to this point. And now heaven declares, this is your moment. Live it, own it, embody it. The rich life is no longer promise, it is present. And you, chosen one, are proof of it.